So autism, Victoria, is the one thing that we do differently than any other thing. So with all the rest, like
I'm not
cerebral,
surprised. I mean, all the things I know about autism, I'm not surprised. Go on.
Winston Churchill once called Russia. He said it's a riddle in a mystery in an enigma, something like that. And I'm like, I feel the same way about autism as well. Autism is just one crazy, crazy riddle. I mean, the second you think you've gotten a handle on, you're like, yeah, this is what can solve the problem. All of a sudden, another kid shows up, throws you a curveball, and everything you learned and knew before just goes out the window. You got to start again from the start, start afresh. So it is a crazy, crazy condition, and my heart goes out to those parents who are really trying to deal with the condition, because some can be very, very distressing. So I was saying that is the one thing that is different, because other conditions like cerebral palsy, seizure disorders, learning disabilities, we're just focused on, like I said, giving the brain the resources it needs to fix itself. So just like, okay, it needs this, take it. In autism, the opposite is almost the case. In autism, you have focus on taking a lot of stuff out. And let me explain this. In most cases of autism, the problem started during pregnancy. And many people may not realize this, but aside during pregnancy, a lot of it, not everything, not all of it, but a lot of it has been attributed to the mother and the child interaction, some immune dysregulation that affects somewhat the child's brain, but also the child's gut, digestive system. And so by the time the child comes out of the gut, is born by the mother, things are in a state of flux. They're not apparent right off the bat. Usually that's the problems usually begin to arise before the third birthday. And there's a reason for that. It has a lot to do with the gut bacteria and the regulation of the gut bacteria. Most kids don't have a fixed or the adult gut bacteria microbiome pattern until the age of 3. Mm-hmm. So before that time, they're in a constant state of flux. And this brings us to the gut-brain connection. What we found out with autism, especially with autism, is that if you don't address the gut, you are pretty much chasing your tail. And I see many parents and all that, they're doing all the great tests, all the wonderful tests they have access to, but they're not addressing the core problem in the gut. So when a parent comes to me, and they explain, they've got to fill a questionnaire. I sit down with them. We go through the whole process. Usually there's a point in which they notice something went wrong. And then we start asking them about their the gut habits. Many times the kid is constipated. Many times they say the kid touches his stomach with this pain, or wakes up at night with pain. They may have very restricted dietary habits. They may have become hyperactive when they eat certain foods. So we kind of look at all those things. There might be head banging involved. There might be fecal smearing involved. I mean, all kinds of things going on. And I try to explain to the parents after we've gone through the whole checklist and heard as much as I can from the parents and looked at whatever tests they've done. I try to explain to the parent that the majority, I would say 80% of these kids' symptoms, 80% of these kids' symptoms do not originate in the brain, but they originate in the gut. Mm-hmm. As a result of, and of course, you know a lot about this, as a result of the dysregulation or dysbiosis. Usually there's supposed to be a nice, even ratio. You've got to have a lot of good bacteria, like 85% to 15% bad bacteria. And not just bacteria, obviously. You talk about candida, yeast, viruses, fungi, all the other things. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different microorganisms in the gut, but essentially it should be 85 to 15%. And I explain all that to them. I say this is many times with kids with autism, that balance is disrupted. Yeah. They have a lot more of two main things we've seen: yeasts, and that's candida, and clostridia, that's a bacteria. Mm-hmm. And these are the two main things that we've seen over and over that cause problems. We also know that there are certain bacteria too that are conspicuously absent in these kids who have the autism.
Mm.
And so the goal that we try to, the goal is really to clean up as safely as possible the gut, to take out as much of everything, just kind of like do a clean sweep, but safely, like I said, and then now replace with the good bacteria, the good germs, and also you got to work on healing the gut as well, because for most of them they've had damage to the lining of the gut, which many times has led to what is known as leaky gut syndrome, where the bacteria and other not properly digested food elements has leaked through the gut into the bloodstream and has gone on to affect the brain. So there's a lot of things going on in the brain as well.
Wow.
But our goal is that it's like in the storm. The first thing you want to do if there's a leaking roof in a storm is to fix the roof. Then you can deal with the decor and the internal design and everything else, and the floor and everything else in the house. But if you don't take care of the roof that has been damaged, you're just going to continue to reinvent the problem.